Okay, today at the Art Hitting Club, we're going to do a little piece with Gary Benton, who asked me to get Bogey to analyze his swing, and I knew Bogey was busy, so I turned it over to my buddy Steve Imlay, and Bogey and Steve work together. They have their clinics, and Gary was really impressed with what Steve did for him, and he's got a lot out of it. Now, I understand Gary Benton is one of the best hitters out here, and probably one of the best hitters in Brevard County as far as distance and power and that kind of thing. Doesn't play on a super major team, but could if the right opportunity presented itself. But let's see what Gary has to say. Well, Gary, I just get a short interview, but just to not interview, but introduction. We consider you one of the better hitters in the club. You and Scott, top of the list, but and Dan, of course. But your swing really didn't need a lot of improvement. So you asked me. I told the story about me putting you in touch with Steve. Why don't you go from there and tell me what you learned and the difference, and then we'll get some swings with you too.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and everything you did kind of turned me on to Steve Imlay, and I'm very thankful for that. He was able to make some adjustments in my swing. But before I get into that, let me go back a little bit as to why I really kind of needed that help. For about 20 years, I walked the box, and I don't know if you're familiar with walking the box, but I'm taking steps inside the batter's box. Most of you guys are familiar with walking the box, but I did that. Well, I had knee replacements here in the past couple of years, and so what I found was my knees were too weak to continue walking the box and have consistency. So I changed in January to more of a traditional stance, and I went back to that. So I was having to relearn those mechanics. And when Steve looked at my mechanics as walking the box, he thought he could help me out with it, add a little bit of distance, a little bit of power on there. So he saw some things he could change, and it helped a lot. So, but that's where I was really working at needing to change my stance. But I've always hit the ball well, and what I was looking for is more consistency, and it gave me exactly that. I always had good power. What Steve showed me, could it have added power? Probably, maybe 20 to 25 feet. But that wasn't really my main focus. My main focus was consistency with the swing. And it gave me that in spades. I feel like I'm a lot more consistent with it when I make contact. I can square the ball up, hit it a lot better, find the sweet spot a lot easier. And that's all thanks to Steve. So I really appreciated that. And now, what did he change? That's probably where you're going to.
Yeah, so what we'll do there, Gary, is that's a good lead in. When you get up the bat, I'll come in there and you'll show me what we changed. We'll get it on film. So okay.
Sure.
Okay. Tell me how you used to do it and how you changed.
Well, like I said, it was like up until January of this year, for about 20 years, I'd walked the box. My knees, when I had the surgeries, were too weak walking the box to make consistent contact, so I felt like I needed to make a change. And I went to more of a traditional approach, and I did, and I went back to a lot of more of my baseball basic mechanics. So one of the big things that I was doing always was scout at ChrisO'Leary.com and everything hitting was who I used, and he always talked about power L's. If you see your arm is in the shape of an L, and he wanted to maintain those power L's all the way through. So I was inside hard, just like baseball, here, maintain the power L, and then going through. Well, Steve had watched some of my swings, and he thought he could make a change. And what he was looking at was making some softball-specific movements and changes. He wanted to increase my arc, so I'm keeping my hands tight to the body. He wanted me to get my
What's that look like?
Well, basically, and everything, instead of being power L here, he wanted me more like straight bar. So when I turn here, creating a bigger arc, and I'm snapping.
So the change, basically, show that to the audience, was that you got, instead of your arms in tight, it's out a little bit. Is that correct?
Yeah, probably the best way to show it is like if when I'm doing power L's and going in here, it's like if I'm here, you really can't see that gap between here and the bat. But if I sit there and go like here, now you see that gap.
So it gives you a longer swing, right? So the longer the lever, the faster the bat?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it works well. I kind of was shying away from that at first because I felt like in baseball we would consider that sweeping to the ball. But you got to think about it. Baseball's coming at you 90 plus miles an hour. Softball's coming, 7 to 10 maybe?
Yeah.
So you got plenty of time to get there, and you got to generate your own power. And it absolutely has. And the biggest thing for me, like I said, was I got a lot more consistency in my swing. You know, I can hit the ball hard more consistently than I.
And that's what you got out of it. What's the name of Steve's Academy that you?
It's SLI Academy.
Okay. Yeah, Steve's a great guy, a great hitter. Okay,
Awesome.
man.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Now
I'll
let's
take some video.
watch Gary's swing in slow motion and watch
the way he's got his arms. The arm is out wider now. He's getting that long stride. He's coming around, foot down. Hits it really well. Looks really good to me. And I'm getting up close. You don't usually see videos like this. You see how close I'm getting. I'm trying to accentuate what he's doing with his arms, and of course he's using the overlap grip. Watch his arms, his movements, all fluid. Comes around, his head's on the balls, watching the ball, watch it, the bat hit the ball. All good stuff. Hard to find any flaws in what he's doing here. Maybe some of the experts out there could see it, but for me, I see this as, I mean, the guy hits it. I mean, he was hitting it 370, 380. That one's a shot. I'm going to give you some live swings here. We're looking at it in real time and watch it. Here we go. Oh, yes, yes. What's that? Look.
Right down the middle.
That's about that. That was one bounce from the 390 fence, 395. Oh, look at that. That's one back to back.
Good miss, Gary. Golly.
That's only 370, yo. Hey, but that Suncoast there, I seen a guy, you know, one of our guys hit a oh, wow. That's 3 in a row, dude. That's one bounce for the fence. Oh, man, that's hit. That may go. No? One bounce for the fence. Okay, well, you got 3 on one bounce to the fence, about 3 out of 4. Pretty consistent. And that was high, too, dude. Dan asked me why I invite Gary to the practices, and I answered, I don't invite the guy. He just fucking shows up. I'm going to put this in the video. Say, now we distract his ass. Hey, I did that too down there in Sebastian, you know. I talked to his ass and he didn't hit it out. You remember that, right?
I do.
Get it in his head. Oh my God! Look at that one. That may go over the fence. No, but that's deeper, so I'm guaranteeing that's 380, 385. Well, guys, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed watching Gary hit these bombs and in slow motion, gave you a lot of up-close personal shots. But remember, he really didn't need a lot of makeover. That guy, he's a great hitter, but he believes that changing his style there, like Steve showed him, basically gave him a longer swing. And he's more consistent now. With that longer swing instead of that baseball style L, it makes a difference. He's happy with it. So sometimes you make just that small change, and even if you're a great hitter, there's some things you can improve. So please hit subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll be putting more stuff out like this. Thank you. Don't forget, gang, subscribe. You do know it's free, right?